Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and today I'm going to talk about Telltale Games and the imminent shutdown of the studio after they have had mass layoffs and have laid off pretty much the entirety of their staff over the last week. This is pretty big news, one of the bigger stories of the year, and it's not often that you see a studio of this size just get shut down really without too much warning, although there was some warning to this, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But obviously, this is not good news for the employees. This is a terrible situation for them. They've been let go without severance, and their health insurance is going to run out. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard about this story, and I've had this same experience happen to me personally, and I can tell you that it is terrible. I had a company that I worked for in my early 20s that just went up and bankrupt, and in the middle of our shift, they came in and told everyone that we were locking the doors. They kicked us all out. We did not get paid for that week, and worse than that, they went into my bank account through my direct deposit and removed my previous week's paycheck, money that was already spent, which put my bank account into a negative balance, and I was in huge financial problems instantly. I was living paycheck to paycheck at the time, and this caused me a world of hurt. So I certainly know what this is like from an employee standpoint, and this is terrible. So obviously, I hope everyone involved who worked at that company lands on their feet. I'm sure some people it's not going to happen, though. They all are living in a very expensive part of the country out in California. So this is not a good situation at all for those employees. So I feel for you guys. I hope you guys figure out what you can do to land on your feet. And I know that there's already a lot of major publishers that have reached out to them saying that, hey, we got jobs. You can come and get them. But I'm sure there's going to be some people that this does not work out well for. And so I feel bad for them. But it is what it is at this point. Now, the odd thing that I've seen when it comes to reporting on this story is a lot of people are acting like this just came out of the blue. And to those people, I got to say, have you not been paying attention to anything from Telltale over the last year? Because it was not even 1 year ago. It was just 10 months ago that they laid off 25% of their staff, and they put out statements saying that they knew that they were screwing up. They had games that they were making too frequently. They hadn't updated the engine in a while, and they said that they were going to scale back production, scale back on the games they were making, and focus on just putting out a few quality games as opposed to just slamming out 2, 3, 4 titles in a year and just wearing the entire studio down. So if you are working for a company and they lay off a quarter of the employees, that's a gigantic red flag. So the notion that there was no warning at all of this coming, there was. And I'm going to put this out to anyone who works at a company. If you're noticing that they are shutting down locations, if you're noticing that there's been wave after wave of layoffs, you need to be looking for a new job, because I've lived it, and now these people from Telltale can bear witness to the fact that these companies don't care about you as an employee in any real way. You are just a name and a number, and they don't really care what happens to you once the business starts going under. So let's just be a warning to everyone out there, no matter what your job is. If you notice that your company is laying off people, if you notice that they're shutting down locations, start looking for a new job immediately. You don't want to be left holding the bag when something like this happens, because it will ruin you financially. Now, I've seen some people speculate that this could be the start of the so-called gaming crash that we're going to see in the next few years. Now, I personally don't think that we're going to see a huge market crash. I think you are going to see some casualties, though, and this could be the first major casualty that we see. Because, let's face it, over the last decade, we've seen all sorts of business practices be thrown out there, whether it be free-to-play games, the games as a service model, the subscription-based model, on down the line. There's all sorts of different gameplay monetization techniques that people have used. It's really been the Wild West when it comes to monetizing your games over the last decade. So now that we're in an era where the fans have finally had enough with loot boxes, where countries are coming together to investigate stuff like this, when there's all sorts of community backlash from people saying, no, we don't want this. And it seems that finally now, gamers are finally, in 2018, able to step up to some of these companies and force them to change their business practices. Well, in this sort of climate, it's inevitable that there's going to start being casualties because business models just aren't sustainable, and Telltale is obviously an example of that. Now, Telltale isn't a company that charged $60 for its games. It's not a company that charged exorbitant prices. It doesn't have microtransactions in the game. None of that. The problem that they had is they didn't charge enough for their games. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is, you can quite literally play virtually all of their games that they've released over the last few years for free, because they give them away almost always within a year or two after they release. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are subscribed to Xbox Live, or if you have PlayStation Plus, you've probably been offered more than a handful of Telltale games for free in monthly bonuses. Because I know that I have 5 different games from them, and I've never paid a dime for any of their games. Not 1 cent for Telltale games, and I've played, like I said, I have 5 of their games. Now, I'm all for advocating for people waiting for a sale, and if you can get a game cheaper, that's great. But if your company is managing it so that almost all your games are at some point just going to be given away for free, then it's going to get to the point where people are going to stop purchasing the games because they know that at some point they're going to get it for free. It's just not sensical from a business standpoint in any way, shape, or form. You can't keep giving away products in perpetuity. So this is just another example of a company that's been completely mismanaged from the top down, and they really just lost their way. They started cranking out games on the same tired engine, and they started losing players because they weren't focusing on making their games special. Now, I know a lot of people like the Walking Dead series, and I know a lot of people like The Wolf Among Us, and I've enjoyed some of these games myself. But the situation that they got themselves into was people were just not purchasing the games. They certainly weren't hanging on every episode. They're just saying, hey, let me get the complete edition when the whole thing comes out, and it'll probably be at a huge discount, if not free, within a year. That's just not sustainable, period. And now, unfortunately, we've seen that it truly is not sustainable because the company is getting shut down. Now, obviously, this is terrible for the employees, like I've said. This is bad for fans of Telltale games. I know that they make niche games. Not everyone's into that sort of interactive storytelling that they provide, but a lot of people are. They're a pretty well-known company, and a lot of people have played their games. But it's still niche games. It's a niche audience, but those people, they're not going to be able to play these games anymore. And especially for the people who've already purchased the last game that they're going to make, which is Walking Dead: The Final Season, those people are left now holding the bag. They've purchased a product that is not going to be completed, so that sucks for them as well. Now, I said there's going to be a class action lawsuit filed against the company on behalf of the employees because they violated the state law in California. They did not provide fair warning to the employees before the layoff. So that's a lawsuit that has already been filed. And if they don't end up producing this game, I mean, they could have another class action lawsuit filed on behalf of the consumers as well. So this is really a terrible situation for Telltale. Now, I don't know where anyone thinks that money is going to come from. If the company files for bankruptcy, I mean, there's only so much protection that is there with the law. Trust me, I've lived it myself. I did eventually recoup the money, but it took about 2 years to get paid for when I personally got laid off through a bankruptcy. So I wouldn't be expecting any money from the company for a very long time, even with a lawsuit filed. And as far as the consumers go, Telltale has said that they're trying to find funding for the project, and now people are jumping down their throats saying, if you find funding, you should pay the employees. I don't know. I think what they're trying to do is avoid another class action lawsuit on behalf of the consumers. And like I said, it's a really, really sticky situation right here. There's really no good outcome for anybody as far as I'm concerned, both for fans, employees, and the company itself. It's a lose-lose-lose. no good has come of this entire situation. So it's really just, it sucks, just on the whole. I can't really give you any other opinion than that. The whole thing sucks. If you like their games, you're out of luck. If you're an employee, you're really screwed, and the company itself obviously is virtually dead at this point. So I just want to talk about this. I don't really have any groundbreaking opinions on it. This is just stuff I wanted to discuss, and like I said, I just kind of want to throw it out there. The people who said that they were shocked by this, I'm not really sure why you were shocked, because this is something that we've known about for the better part of a year now, that the company was not doing all that great. So it's not a good situation. It's obviously bad for everyone involved, but that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I'm going to talk to you guys later. I'm Coach Toolshed. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I don't know what sort of controversial opinions anyone can have on this. It's sort of pretty much the writing's on the wall, and that's just where the situation stands. So let me know what you guys think anyway down in the comments. If you have anything to add to the conversation, that'd be great. I will talk to you guys later. I am Coach Toolshed, and as always, keep it turned to 11.